I've never watched an episode of The Simpsons. I've only seen tiny bits and pieces. But someone near and dear to me loves watching The Simpsons and telling me about it, so when I saw I had the opportunity to play the Simpsons Game, I thought I would check it out, even though I don't really know what goes on in the show. I might not know that, but now I know, what's this game about? Well, it's a video game about video games, because that's where all the comedy lies, am I right? It has different levels, each with a different theme, all loosely built around a story of everyone gathering different powers that they can use first for personal gain, then for defeating aliens, and then to escape the video game by confronting God. They're short levels, made clear by the fact that you're supposed to do quite a few of them in under 10 minutes. I'd personally like to brag that I finished the second mission in 45 minutes. Beat that. The controls are fairly simple. You climb around and solve different types of puzzles, you could say, to advance to the next section. Each different Simpson has different abilities and different collectibles they need to get, and you switch between them to get through your tasks. You also beat up children. A lot. I didn't expect this game to be so torturous when I started playing. I don't know if it's because I was playing a PlayStation Portable version using PC controls, but it was just hard to control sometimes, and that immediately sucked a lot of fun out of it. It sounds kind of entertaining if you say that you immediately start the game by drowning Homer Simpson in chocolate a dozen times. Wait, that isn't something that should sound fun. I might have issues. But anyway, you're not supposed to drown in chocolate. But because I couldn't really get the camera to work right, and it was so touchy about timing your jumps, that's what happened. But yes, I wasn't playing with a PlayStation controller, so that surely influenced my negative experience, so I'm just being upfront about that. A lot of the times when I got stuck in a level, it was because the characters wouldn't move how I wanted them to. This game might be easy peasy when played properly, but I don't know if that's quite the case because I also got stuck due to my incompetence. Or perhaps the game's? Some levels are just very unclear about what you're supposed to do exactly. In the Lard Lad level, I had no idea you were supposed to shoot him with the slingshot first. The only info they gave me was that there was helium in the level, but you don't even need that at the beginning. How was I supposed to assume I was to use the slingshot when you just tell me about the helium? I know I'm kind of dumb sometimes, but come on, give me a bit of slack here. Some levels were pretty straightforward and easy to get through, but others were confusingly difficult, and not in a way I think it was supposed to be for a challenge. Like I said before, the levels are supposed to be short, but they were so confusing at times that I was spending forever on them. I considered permanently rage quitting, but knew I had to finish the game or else there was no point to the suffering I had already endured. I also had to know if Snake Jailbird was going to be in it because he's the best character in my limited knowledge. Unfortunately, he did not speak in the game. I really had no other attachment to seeing this thing through to the end because it broke me inside. It made me want to strangle Bart Simpson to death because his gliding ability never worked right. You see how angry he looks? That's how I felt. I'm grateful there was a walkthrough online that was very helpful, although there were still issues with the characters never moving quite how I wanted to, especially Bart. I think the best character was Maggie because she got to crawl through vents like a spy. Bart just flailed about and died. But as I got farther through the game, these intense feelings of frustration and hatred happened less frequently. Some parts were pretty enjoyable, and it did feel good to finally figure out something difficult. Looking back on it, it really was a decent game despite its issues. I can say that I'm glad I played it, but not enough that I'd do it again to 100% complete it. Just reaching the end was enough. The game is charming in some ways, especially because it has actual value as a game, unlike some other TV show games, like the horrible Bachelor game that I tried a little while ago. Yikes. That was not good. The Simpsons game actually has content you don't have in the show if you're playing because you love it, and they actually have the same 2D animation instead of making it completely dissonant with only the 3D models. But it's a little dry elsewhere at times. The game tries super hard to poke fun at itself, or video games in general, by pointing out all the supposed cliches, but it's not really funny. Just because something is in a lot of games doesn't mean it's necessarily cliche, and it just makes the game feel less like, haha, this is such a typical video game, and more like, you've done this before, so we're gonna make you do it again because we're unoriginal. But if we say we're unoriginal, you can't hate us.
Sure, the Simpsons game is great with its unique upgradable character abilities and its hilarious self-referential cutscenes, but what about when the Xbox 720 comes out?
It's also trying to be quite meta in the way that a lot of the plot starts from Bart buying a video game and then the story being revealed to be video game centric. I'm fine with that because they make it good, but the cliche gameplay aspects thing is just kind of dull to me. But all the other references were fun, like all the fake Nintendo characters or moral combat, and then playing a dance game against God. There are a lot of references, especially to EA since they made the game. You even get 4 levels that are directly based on different kinds of games, like Legend of Zelda, Medal of Honor, and Grand Theft Auto. If you like fast 3D platformer type games, you might like this. It's a simple game made to be played fast, so you keep playing levels until you collect everything or beat the time. And that can be totally fun at times if you're not stuck at something. Unfortunately, this game got me stuck a lot, but by the end, I was able to forgive it. Obviously, if you don't like Simpsons-style humor, you're going to be suffering through the constant little quips in the background, especially if you've been playing one level for so long that they're now repeating, which is my case in quite a few of these. But some of the lines really did entertain me.
Oh, I've heard about this. It's the game where you play a meanie Bobini that murders other meanie Bobinis.
But I think it's the kind of thing that anyone can enjoy if they know just how to play these types of games well. It's a good way to pass the time because of the bite-sized levels, and something you could play with other people and take turns with. If you like The Simpsons, you'll like the game, and otherwise, like I said, I enjoyed it even though I don't watch the show. Well, most of it. I never want to play it again, but it really wasn't that terrible by the end. I don't know if I would have been able to finish it without the walkthrough, though.
Check it out. They have a walkthrough for a game called the Simpsons Game.
But in that way, it made me feel extra accomplished when I could finish a section without help. I think it was a well-written game, and that they made a comedic idea into a game that stands fine on its own, even without the Simpsons characters. It didn't look beautiful or anything, but I know the PS2 version looks a lot better than the PSP one, so there's that. If you like The Simpsons or lots of video game references and parodies, or even just want a challenging action platformer, try the game if you get the chance. It's an example of a way to make a video game tie-in done well, and something that will really test your skills. And patience. At the very least, you can play it for the Marge levels where you get to control a mob to do your bidding. The power feels amazing. I give this game a thumbs up of approval in every area except the controls. Because you can't let me float over the edge of a platform in one area only to make me slide off if I just slightly move in another. That's not fair. So you guys tell me, are there any TV show themed games that you enjoy? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it. You can also subscribe to be notified every time I post a new video game review or other fun game themed videos. Have a groovy day, and try not to beat up too many kids.
Show.